Hello and welcome to a new edition of Fangirl Thursday. I am your host, Lynn Shaw. I am so excited for tonight's show. I am a huge fan of Melanie's work. Love her books. Her new series, the Blood and Magic series, season 1, she takes her edgy, clean brand and makes it a bit edgier and a lot more steamier. And she is definitely bringing the heat and the swoon-worthy vibes with her bad boy Gabe and his sultry huntress Lennon. Woo! Be still my heart. This series is comprised of 3 action-packed novellas, each hotter than the one before. No worries though. While Gilbert's writing is a bit saucier and darker in this, she still sticks to her well-known clean brand. You can read her entire series free in Kindle Unlimited, or you can snag the complete season of book 1 in paperback. You can order it from Amazon, or you can reach out to Melanie direct and you can get a signed copy of this bad boy as well. So without further ado, let's have Melanie pop on here and join us. She's coming, I promise. There we go. Hello,
Hi.
hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I love this series. I didn't know I needed this darker, sexier, sussier side of you, but evidently I did, and I am addicted. I don't want anything else. I just want more of this.
I'm glad because there's more coming.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the there are 3 books and the first 3 novellas, and the first, we'll call it the season. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about that.
All right. So I got this idea. Actually, I was browsing on Pinterest and I saw something that was like, oh, that looks interesting. And so I kind of ran with the idea that this pin had given me. And I thought, well, what if the main character isn't the hero? Like, what if the main character telling the story is the villain? And so I did too. I'm like, this will be very interesting to write because usually my characters, as if you know my characters, they are more clean cut and they have good moral standing in terms of, they don't go out and kill people and then not be, feel fine at the end of the day. And so
Gabe is none of that. Let's set the record straight. Gabe is none of that. His moral compass broke.
Yes. It's spinning.
Yeah.
It's yes. So I'm like, this is going to be a very interesting character to write. It's going to be an interesting character to try to keep a clean book for. And but I thought, hey, why not? Why, So I just started writing it, and it starts, he's on a phone call with his best friend Easton, who at the time I had no idea who he was besides the name. And then out walks Lennon out of a club or whatever it was, a bar, I don't remember. And he just hones in on her. And the story was born. He's got this, I wouldn't call it a crush, but a lust for Lennon and her blood. And then Lennon, this monster stumbles across her path, likes Lennon's smell as well, and the villain must save the huntress. It's interesting in this one that the villain is the protagonist and the hero of the story is the antagonist. And it was it was fun to write. It was fast and fun.
It was a lot of fun to read. It was fast to read. I devoured all 3 of them pretty much back to back. I didn't want anything else. And then when I got done, I was like, I need some more of this, Melanie.
Yes, I think I wrote it in like a
Heather
week.
Karn with us, of course. Hello, Heather. For
Oh,
those of you that
Heather.
are familiar, you know that Heather is Melanie's twin. You might have licked him, but you know, he's okay with being shared, or he was.
Oh gosh, Heather's got this crush on Gabe. Yes.
She referred to Lennon as his lunch. He had to save his lunch. Let's talk about not the villain, but the creature that you came up with in book 1. And the name of it is, I'm completely drawing a blank because I had to Google how to pronounce it. And then I discovered that it really was this sort of mythical creature that had been talked about. And so then I went down the Google rabbit hole of coming up and reading about this creature. So where on earth did you get that from?
Okay, so you're not the only one. Another reader told me that she had to do the same, that she did the same thing because she thought I'd made this creature up.
I did too.
Yes, and so when they first come across some dead bodies, and I had described them and stuff, and then I got to the point where I needed the creature to come in, and I am like, I don't have a creature.
So you pretty much just pants this series then?
Oh, I pantsed this, yes. Especially the first one. I just went with it. And so I went to Google again, like everybody else, and tried to find a monster that would match the wounds I'd already given the people. I'm like, well, this monster sounds terrifying and gross and creepy. And so let's go with this one.
I can't imagine what that search engine looks like and what got typed in to come up with that. I mean, yeah, that was pretty wicked.
I don't even remember anymore. I wrote the first one like over a year before it was released. So it's been like a year and a half since I wrote the first one. And
well, I have no idea why you sat on this for so long because it's amazing.
I moved.
Well, yeah.
Yes, that, and I wanted to have at least 1 or 2 more to come after it. And then with the move, everything got shook up. And so when I came out of moving time, that whole 6 months of that, I knew I had Gabe ready to go out. And so I'm like, I need to get these other 2 written. And they were actually supposed to be written in reverse order. Bites and Bonds was supposed to come third, and Hunt and Seek was supposed to be second. But I couldn't get them to, I couldn't get it to write. And I mean, I did so many drafts of Hunt and Seek, and I couldn't get it. And so actually you can thank my husband for getting this order correct, because he's the one who suggested, well, why do they have to be in that order? Can't you switch them? And then it flowed like nobody's business and stuff. And I did pants the entire thing. You've
been doing that a lot lately. The whole pantsing thing.
It works for some books and it doesn't work for others. Gabe is very unpredictable. He has a mind of his own and will tell you what decision he wants to make when it's time to make it. Other characters, an outline, and it depends on like the diner book that I wrote. I outlined it because I had to write fast, and I didn't have time to keep rewriting if something didn't work. And so I outlined that. This one, Gabe has something he wants, and he wants Lennon. And every single decision that he makes is towards that end goal. And so it was very easy to kind of weave the story around what he wanted and how he was going to get it. And all that jazz. So no, I cannot. I have the basic storyline most of the time laid out.
Mhm.
Um, like I know who you're going to meet in other books, and I know basic things of what will happen in other books, but I don't lay them out. It just whatever Gabe feels like Gabe gets. I even tried to write like bites and bonds from Lennon's point of view, and that
And
didn't
he
work.
said no.
No,
Gabe
he
said
said
no.
no.
This is my series, he said.
It's pretty much yes. This is Gabe's series. You get like a couple of pages of Lennon's point of view, but that's all you get. Gabe has hogged the series.
Let's talk about Gabe and Lennon's relationship a little bit because it is very odd. He's a vampire and she's from a long line of hunters. So let's talk about their dynamic, their interaction a little bit because that's where a lot of the fun comes from in this story.
Yes, yes, it really does. Because you start the book and Lennon obviously hates him because he's a vampire and she's a vampire
Mhm,
hunter, and she tries to take him out in the first scene they're together in,
mhm.
um, and Gabe, the first time he ran across her, like 2 years before the series starts, he scented her, and now he can't stop. Like he will drop notes off. He's dropped a dead body off. He's anything to like keep her thinking of him, and he spies on her, and she has to deal with this, and all the other hunters want him away, and he again a low moral character here.
Mhm.
you know it, and but the situation that they are put in, they end up having to work together
Yes.
to rid the world of this monster.
Mhm.
And so what do you do when you have to work with the person you're supposed to be killing, because you can't, you need him to help you take that. Yeah,
Mhm.
so
You got to call a momentary truce.
yes, they had a momentary truce. And even she multiple times during the book, she's like, I should kill you. What am I doing? I can't, she's a very strong female to go up like toe to toe with Gabe, which she does a few times and stuff, even though Gabe enjoys that more than he should.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
I like that they are forced to work together in book one and kind of come to an understanding with one another. She still lets him know that if he crosses the line, she's going to shoot him. And she's very detailed where and how she's going to shoot him with her crossbow as well. Um, and then in book two, we open and she's gotten into a bit of trouble. And when she's looking for where to turn, he's the first person that she thinks to go to, which is a little
Yes.
foretelling of things to come. But so that kind of leads us into a little bit of the second book, Bites and Bonds. And of course, we can't go into too much detail because then that ruins the second and third book. So you guys just have to take our word for it. You definitely want to read this series if you are looking for a lot of action, if you are looking for the heat and the steam factor, but a fade to black, still keeping it very clean. This is definitely the series for you. I enjoyed it. I thought it had just enough heat to make me, between the heat and the sass and the wit and the sarcasm and all that, it just, I would open up my Kindle, start reading, and I didn't stop till I finished the book. And then I would force myself to go to sleep and wait until the next night to read the next one. So that was pretty much what I did for like 3 or 4 days until the series was completed. And then I just was like, well, what am I going to do with myself now?
Yeah, I loved that the characters are so unique in this one. Like I don't think I've ever made a book or a series where the characters are all so different from each other. They have their own personalities. Easton, I'll let you guys be surprised on him, but he is a nervous person for good
Is he
reason.
based on anyone that you know? Did you pick up any of his little ticks from anyone in particular, or was that just kind of that's just what he is what he is?
Yep. He pretty much is what he is, and he pretty much said, "This is me." He is a water drinker when he's nervous, and that is like a big joke throughout the series and stuff. But they built. I didn't outline any of this. I didn't know any of this when I started. It just kept building on itself. Who he was and why he was the way that he was, and how all these characters were connected and different things. It just was kind of like, wow. And like, I don't know. There were no words for it. It just like happened.
He reminds me a little bit of, and I can't remember the character's name, but I think I can describe him enough that most people know who I'm talking about. If you've watched the Hugh Jackman Van Helsing movie, the little priest guy, or like he's studying to become a priest or monk or something. Anyway, he comes in to assist him.
Or something.
Yeah. And he's kind of nervous acting, and he's a little unsure about things, and he's a little skittish and things like that. Easton reminds me of him a little bit.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes, for sure.
Well, I'm going to share with everybody the blurb from book 1 so you guys can get an idea a little bit about the series. And then, of course, you can head over to the blog, twogirlsinabook.com, and or you can look over in the comments section and you can click on the link for the blog as well, so that you guys can check out all 3 books in the series, as well as get links to their Kindle Unlimited page and also the paperback. So for book 1, we have Blood and Dust, and let's get started with that blurb. Even the villain will do the right thing for the wrong reason. Vampires are driven by blood, and Gabriel Zach is no exception. In over 100 years, he's never smelled anything as divine and as
exquisite.
Exquisite. I'm sorry. My screen was jumping. I was like, what happened? Okay. As divine and as exquisite as the blood of the vampire hunter Lennon Stewart. Sorry about that, guys. And he's never met anyone who drives his lust through the roof quite like her. But Gabe isn't the only monster who's attracted to Lennon's scent. An attack by a mysterious monster leaves the hunter in the arms of her worst enemy, Gabriel, the vampire stalking her. If he's not strong enough, he will devour her before he's ready. Lennon's job is to kill monsters, but Gabe's job is to keep her alive, if only for selfish purposes. At the end of the day, we'll both make it to survive. Once you choose, there's no going. Oh, sorry. I was moving on to the next blurb. Whoops. Little anxious there. So yeah, that's your take there, your blurb on book 1, Blood and Dust. Again, guys, it's just written so well. You're gonna fly right through the series, and I know from you and I talking previously, you have mentioned that this is gonna kind of be season 1. You've rolled it all into one paperback because, again, they are novellas. And if anyone wants a signed paperback, you can reach out to the author. You can reach out to Melanie on social media, and you can order a signed copy direct from her. I have already placed my order and already paid my invoice. I'm super excited. I can't wait to get this one on my shelf. I love all of the covers, but I think my favorite is the Blood and Dust cover.
Mine too. That's why I chose it to be the paperback cover. It was my favorite.
Mm-hmm. So I know from talking to you, you've mentioned this is kind of season 1, and you have other plans for these characters and things. When do you think we might get to revisit them?
Well, it will definitely be sometime next year. There's no way it's happening this year. I'm kind of tossing around between like spring or doing the same schedule of like June, July, and August. But that seems like such a long ways away. But I have other hotties that are insisting on being written too. And so, I mean, like, but it really depends on how quickly they write. I did Bites and Bonds and Hunt and Seek on a time schedule and a time crunch, and I would rather not do that again this time. So I'm not going to set pre-order dates until they're ready, like at least first drafts are done and stuff. And right now, I write them for 30 to 45 minutes in the car waiting to pick my oldest up from school. So whatever I can get done in 30 to 45 minutes if I have service, you know. So we shall see. But I have started the fourth one. I have like a page on that, maybe.
Do you have a title yet?
I don't. It took, Bites and Bonds. The Bites part was easy. That was obvious. And Hunt and Seek was pretty easy. But the Bonds part of it was not, I don't know. Have not decided yet on that one, but I need to because I got to get them to the cover designer sometime. So, you know. But I'm very excited for the next season. You're going to meet new characters, revisit some old ones, and yeah, I'm very excited. Berkeley is Lennon's brother, and he in the first book, not the best brother. And so I was going to drop him, but he didn't want to get dropped either. And so he
needs to redeem himself.
He does. And he is on his way to doing that. And so, yes, I love Berserk. Yes. They have the best nicknames in this series.
Yes, they do. Berkeley's nickname, of course, is Berserk. And yeah, that was a cute one.
Yes, I just like.
So, I know you've had a hectic writing schedule. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
I know you've had a hectic writing schedule this year. You had a lot of new stuff coming out, deadlines and that sort of thing, and you've got some additional stuff planned for the rest of the year. So what do you do to avoid burnout and to try and maintain your enthusiasm for writing that next book?
Gosh, that is a good question because I have hit burnout twice this year. And I have tried to spend more time with my kids. And I started going on walks, a lot of walks, to just get the blood moving. And my brain works a lot better when I'm moving. People wonder why Melanie loves laundry. Well, most people stand there at their basket or sit with their clothes basket and fold in nice little piles. And Melanie folds one thing and puts it away and folds another thing and puts it away because I enjoy the movement.
That's really, really wanting to get those steps in on your step counter right there. No.
Yes. So movement helps me to not burn out so bad. And just having like a goal in mind of like this one will be over at this time and this like a plan. My plan always changes, as you know. Just planning helps me and slowing down when I need it. Lately, I haven't been able to slow down, but I'm looking forward to it. And just working on the books that call to me instead of the books with the deadlines, which is why I've been pushing like myself not to like put up the pre-orders until the book is done, because then it is, oh goodness. Okay.
Others telling secrets.
That is true too. That is true. Okay. So one thing that I do, like, I like to have a hot chocolate with my flavoring syrups every morning. And if I don't do a decent enough job with the business the day before, I don't get my hot chocolate the next day.
Oh, that's
so
harsh.
I know. So
I know how much you like the hot chocolate.
I like the hot chocolate. I mean, I have a cabinet in my house that like the shelf is full of like, I think there at one time there was 22 syrup flavors.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's just like toasted marshmallow, cinnamon, peppermint, English toffee, French toast, brown sugar, and cinnamon, which actually tastes like a cinnamon roll.
Ooh.
Yes, yes. So anyway, Melanie loves her hot chocolate with flavoring syrups. So
Now, are these like the same flavoring syrups that you use in like coffee? Or
yes,
are they okay?
yes.
I
So I
have never
just
thought
put my
about
hot
putting that in my hot chocolate.
yes. I actually Mary is the one who gave me my first syrups. So we're gonna blame it all
Oh,
on Mary.
speaking of Mary, let's give her a shout out tonight. If you guys are, if you follow the page on a regular basis, Mary Eager joins us almost every Thursday night that we have a fangirl and interacts with us. And she's actually become a personal friend of mine outside of the show. And you guys heard me shout out a big congratulations when she announced that she was going to be having her second baby boy. And she texted me at like 5 or 6 a.m. this morning, but thank goodness I was asleep. However, my husband did let me know that my phone was lighting up. But she texted me really early this morning because we were on 2 different time zones and let me know that the bouncing boy number 2 had made his way into the world 6 days early, I think. So, yeah, super excited
Yeah.
for her. Mother and baby are both doing fine. She sent me a couple of adorable pictures as well. He's cute as a button.
Oh, he
And
is.
Melanie and I want to wish you all the best, all the healing vibes. Can't wait for you to get back home and get settled and be able to join us again.
Yes. I'm so excited. I got a text about the same time.
Yeah, I mean, because I know she's a couple of hours behind me. So, yeah, I think she must have been up at like 3 a.m. or something sending me a message. But
Yes.
But she was excited. I'm really excited for her.
Me
She's
too.
such a great mom to her toddler. So I know she's gonna be just as well with this one too. And she's got
Mhm.
family and everything in town as well. So good for them.
Yes.
So speaking of celebrating, how do you celebrate when you finish a novel? Do you treat yourself to some extra syrup?
um, well, since moving here, Heather and I will order Chinese. My
Oh,
husband does not like Chinese, so I never got to do that before. And so that's like you finish a book, you get Chinese, or I do something like I'm not a take the night off because you finished it person. I'm a let's jump into the edits now, or let's start the next book.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm something special to eat, like a
Mm-hmm.
new hot chocolate syrup, or okay, I say hot chocolate syrup, but new syrup or Chinese, or just something that I don't reward myself enough, apparently.
I like the idea of celebrating with food. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right, right. No, it's like my favorite thing. Like I have a hard time like sitting down and watching movies and stuff now. Like everybody will be like, "Oh, I'm binging this, I'm binging that," and I'm like, I don't even remember the last thing I binged. Like it was probably Avatar with the boys at Christmas time because I got Avatar, the Last Airbender series for
Mhm.
Christmas, and who were in this horrible apartment trying to get our house sold and move. And so it was like our nightly thing, like watch Avatar and and get through the whole thing. And it was
Mhm.
something that the boys could watch with us. That's the last thing I binged. So that was, January.
I
So
am usually late to the party when I finally sit down to binge watch something. It's usually never while it's the whole end thing that everybody's talking about on social media. It's usually months after that. And same thing with books, unless you are an author that I follow regularly, that I talk to regularly and things like that. It's not that the others aren't on my radar, but those are just more prominent and I remember more about what they have going on since I'm talking to them. So I find myself reading the same people over and over again, and I have to remind myself that I do have other people on the shelf I need to pull off and read every now and then. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm always behind the trend on whatever it is.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, the last thing I binged watched was The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I did do that one. It was my
I've done
birthday.
that one.
It was my birthday, and I had had my wisdom teeth out like the week or two before, and I was still healing up and stuff. So I wasn't writing. So yeah, that was the last thing. But
Well,
I was
if you
still
have
excited.
Disney Plus, I'm pretty sure Black Widow is out now where everybody can watch it. I think I got an
Oh,
email about that. So that's kind of like what my plans are for the weekend. If my husband and I can sit still at the same time, we're gonna sit down and watch that. So
nice,
it
nice.
probably won't happen because again, that would, that would be on point with what's going on, and I'm never on point. So if you could give any little piece of advice to a new writer, an aspiring writer, what would it be?
Just write. Write because you will get better the more you write. Like this series, had it been my first one, would not have turned out this way. Experiment with your writing, find out what you like to write now. And like hello, Amy. I've done YA, I've done kind of new adult stuff, and then I found that I am liking the darker, grittier side and things. And
Mhm.
I have 2 more series planned with this same kind of a morally gray male character who, is quite hot and sexy and ready for reading.
Hi, Amy. Thanks for popping in. We appreciate you being here. If you've got any questions for Melanie or about the series, make sure you pop those over in the comments and we'll get those up and answered too. I have to say, as someone who read one of your first elemental books, I remember when I read it, I thought, this is okay. And I kind of
Mhm.
reached a point in the book where your writing style changed and you really seemed to find your groove. And I think I commented on that
Yeah.
in my review that it started out one way, but you could tell when you kind of hit your groove and you got more relaxed with the writing and the story itself got better. And I haven't read the rest of the Elemental series, but if memory serves me correct, you have pulled it down so
Yeah.
that you can go in and re-edit and change some covers and things. So we look forward to all of that coming out soon. But so I've read that, and then the next thing that I did of yours, I believe, was your fairy tale retelling series.
Mhm.
Um, and I enjoyed it. They're a great series, but the voice that you had in those versus the voice that you have in the Blood and Magic series and the voice that you had in the co-write that you did with Heather is completely different. I would have never thought that it was written by the same Melanie because just the
Yes.
styling's different, the attitude is different. And that's not to say that there was anything wrong with the way you wrote before. There
Right.
there wasn't. This is just, I guess, a little like you said, it's darker, it's grittier, it's more grown up. And I like the adult version of Melanie.
I do too. And um, I think it's going to stick around because I really enjoyed writing this series a lot. Um, and I mean, I liked writing the YA fairy tales and stuff, and they
Mhm.
were really fun and they had a different feel. Um, but the darker stuff was definitely more fun. Like Heather and I were talking, like, we what kind of feel do different stories that we'd eventually like to write, how are they gonna feel? And Heather gets after me because she wants to write something that's a little bit fluffier. Yes, and I do tell her that our stuff is going to be dark. So it's like the mood I'm in right now. Like, let's get the darker stuff. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know where this came from, Lynn. Like, all of a sudden, it just like, okay,
I don't know either.
I think it was like last year with my move. Like, it sent me to a very dark place. And I kind of,
But you
as
know what?
far as,
Channel that however you need to. And if writing,
Mhm.
morally compromised, sexy Gabe is what does it for you, well, it does
Yeah.
it for me too.
Yes. So I wrote a book during that time, and it, because of stress and things, it's definitely not like ready to come out. It needs a rewrite. However, the feel of it was like dark, like even like a little bit darker than Gabe and things. And so I don't like the dark time in my life, but it led to like this love of like finding where I'm happy and comfortable writing and
Mhm.
stuff. It's so, I look forward to more. So, yes.
I'm curious if any of it is going to spill over into some of the rewrite that you're doing with our book. I mean, I know ours doesn't really have it isn't in the same genre or anything like that, but and I haven't gone back. I saw your edits, but we've talked. My week has been absolutely bonkers. So I am curious how your character in our book, if she's going to be affected and if she's going to change at all, or if her voice is going to stay the same.
I'm curious too.
I
We
don't
shall
have
see.
a problem with her changing. She's fine either way. But I have been curious since your voice has changed so much since we wrote our rough draft, and we're going in and we're doing our first round of self edits, and we keep putting things off because either my schedule is hectic or you've got a deadline to make. And we swear, guys, we're getting to it. It is on the list of
Yeah.
things to do. We're going to try to knock it out and get our part of the work done so that we can get it off to betas and then to the editor, around the first of the year or whatever. So we're working on it. We're trying.
Yes.
And of
She
course,
has changed a little bit. When I went back through and read it, I kind of cringed because I'm like, no. Of course, I was a little, COVID had hit, and my
mhm,
husband was looking for a job, and I just needed to, you
mhm,
always have the first draft, just get it out of you and stuff.
yeah,
So I have gone through and I have rewritten her chapters, not all of them, but the last couple that we were working
mhm,
on, and making her a tougher character. Not like super tough, but definitely better than what
mhm,
she was.
mhm,
She was very infatuated with her love interest, Roman.
mhm,
And so I kind of toned that down a bit. I gave her more of a let's get this case figured out because, it
mhm.
is a paranormal crime mystery thing. And just like, get your focus, girl. Like, you got a promotion on the line. forget the hottie. Okay, not all the way, but like anyway, I cleaned it up. I like it.
Awesome. I am hoping to settle down this weekend and get to focus on it and do some rewriting of my own as well. Um, being a newbie, I kind of lean on you to take the lead and tell me what I need to do and kind of bump me in the right direction. So when we get bogged down, I'm just like, okay, I'll just put that to the side. Worry about that later. So I'm hoping I can get better with that and just take the initiative to do more with it. But like you said, when you write the first one, so.
Yeah.
Anywho, I digress. I changed the subject. I'm sorry. You guys are going to love the Blood and Magic series. Trust me, head over to the blog, check out all three of the books. You can read them for free in Kindle Unlimited, and hopefully we will be seeing more from these amazing characters next year. I will definitely be hounding Melanie and reminding her that we need more of these people because it's just, I love it. And I love the darker side. I need more. Um,
Yes.
what do you have coming out next?
All right. So next I have, oh gosh. So I'm sorry. I have to say I'm sorry in advance because every I'm sorry. Anyway, The Diner 2 is coming out at the end of the month. And my story in it is called Something Wicked. It features hellhound shifters and a reaper.
Cool.
And yes. So Heather and another reader are very mad at me. I'm sorry, guys. So anyway, we'll preface that when you read it. I do apologize in advance. But it's really good. It's really good. There are evil creatures. There are wraiths. There are many multiple monsters, and fine. I killed somebody. If it helps, I cried when I wrote it.
Oh my gosh.
So, and I'm apparently never allowed to stain my deck again because that's like when I must have been in a mood because that's when all the thoughts and ideas came and stuff. So anyway,
as long as you haven't pulled a Stacy Rourke or you kill an entire cast of people in chapter 1, then you're doing okay. If you
have not done that.
Beloved character that I'm going to read about and then they die after I've developed this strong connection to them, I may have some strong emojis for you as well.
Yes, I apologize. So anyway, in that book, I'm very much looking forward to it. Kieran is a hellhound shifter. He is from a magical. Name. Yes, a friend of mine passed it along to me. I was looking for names. I'm like, what do we got here? Yeah, so she gave it to me. I'm like, oh, perfect. We're running with this. And Haven is the Reaper, and there's a invisible type of a prison. Like the hellhounds can go through the barriers, but like nobody else can. And so there's it's called the in between, where they are guarding like the worst creatures that have ever been placed on the earth. They're locked up in a place called the Deep. But some of them escape. Some wraiths escape. They steal Kieran's nephew, a little hellhound pup, and take him to the real world, what they call the real world, which is our world. And so Kieran and his brother Nikolai have to go through and find the pup, and they run into the diner is a shared world, so it's a supernatural hangout place. So you get to see the diner. You get to see it's a set of 5 books in one box set. You'll see characters from a couple of the other books. I have a tendency, Heather always writes her diner book first, and I have a tendency to steal her characters. So for my purposes. So anyway, you'll see some familiar faces and stuff. Julie Treadle's in it, SF Benson, KJ Lovely, and Heather Karn and me. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Now, this is the second book in the Diner series, correct?
Yes.
Do you have to have read the first box set in order to follow? Okay. And do you have to read all of the stories in the second box set, or can you pick and choose?
No, you can pick and choose. They are all standalone.
Not that all of those authors aren't fantastic. I'm just thinking if I'm in a time crunch.
Right. No, definitely for sure. They can be read on their own. And you don't have to read them all. You can. They they're standalone novels that we just borrow each other's characters every once in a while to do things. And
cool.
Yeah.
Will it be a wide release, or is it going to be available on Kindle Unlimited?
It'll be in Kindle Unlimited.
Awesome.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I have had a fantastic time talking to you tonight and gushing about Gabe. Heather, mind your business. Um,
I love Gabe. I can't wait to get back to Gabe. It's like, I know,
um,
so one more thing. Sorry.
no, you're
I,
fine.
every time I go in to write like Bites and Bonds and Hunt and Seek, I get so nervous because like the one before this was so good, and I don't want to mess it up. And then Heather actually was telling me there's a section in Hunt and Seek that I quoted her from, and she's like, "You can't go wrong. Just think of Gabe. He's arrogant and inappropriate. Like you got that, you're set." So
True.
yeah,
Very true. Well, I
very
have had a
true.
blast talking to you tonight about this series. I hope you guys will join me for Fangirl Thursdays in the future. You can check out my YouTube series, Spooktacular Reads for October. I have one video up so far this month. You can check out the Collected series by K.R. Alexander on there. He has creepy dolls on his covers.
Ooh.
And they are middle grade horror, and I enjoyed both of them. It's 2 books in the series, and I have a review and a video up over on YouTube for those. I'm going to be doing more all month long. They will eventually be shared on my Facebook page as well. They are originating and premiering over on YouTube right now, and I will be spotlighting books, both the middle grade, YA, and adult. I'm going to be doing ghost stories, horror stories, and I'm also going to be adding some thrillers this time around as well. I'm going to be including Neurosis by Amy Hale, and I'm also going to be including I Will Bury You from Brandy Nicole. One's adult, the other is YA, and both of them are psychological thrillers from Tongue Tied, and deal with mental illness. And I read both of them back during the summer, and I loved them. So I'm going to spotlight both of those on the Spectacular Reads as well, because not everybody likes super scary stuff. But those have enough twists and turns and the darker side of life in them that I think people will enjoy them as well. So I'm gonna have those on there as well. So make sure you guys check that out. And of course, pop over to Amazon and the Kindle Unlimited and snag your copies of the Blood and Magic series. If you want signed copies, reach out to Melanie direct and she can get you invoiced and get those out to you as well. So that's it for me. Melanie, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me.
Of course. Night, guys.
Bye.